guys, my name is Bharat and I'm the creator of Bharat in Germany. This is the episode 2, season 2 of A Day in Life of a Student in Germany, where we show you lifestyles of students studying in different German universities. This season is brought to you in collaboration with Study in Germany Land of Ideas, which is a campaign conducted by DAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. In this episode, we have Tim with us, who is a student from USA and is currently studying at Dresden. Let's take a look.
Tim, get up.
No.
Yes, you need to get up.
No.
Yes. Come on.
Okay.
So, now that I'm up and dressed for the day, I can tell you who I am. My name is Tim. I come from the US, and I am studying Lehramt for English and Musik, which means basically education for English and music. So, one of the most important things that I do to start my day is, of course, have some breakfast. My absolute favorite thing is to make an avocado toast with some cream cheese and a couple of spices on some really good German bread. So let me make that for you guys real quick, and I can explain a couple of things along the way. First of all, this is Martin. This is my boyfriend, and we live together in our apartment. As you can see, we're getting things ready. I'm starting to cook an egg. I have some cream cheese ready. He's already made the coffee that he's going to make, and I need to get on making my coffee too. That's also a really important part of my daily breakfast in Germany. So, I'm gonna prepare my egg right now. But in the meantime, I'd like to explain a couple of things that are really important for living in Germany, also for just living in an apartment here. So the one thing is that everything's pretty normal in terms of the kitchen. So you have a normal stovetop and you have a normal oven. For me as an American, it was a little weird to adjust, of course, to Fahrenheit and Celsius, which that is just my problem, just an American problem. Many of you probably won't have that problem. But that was one thing that I had to adjust to. Otherwise, everything's pretty normal. For me, I was used to having a dishwasher, and of course, I also had to adjust to not having a dishwasher. As you can see, we have a drying rack here, where we normally just put all of our dishes when we're done doing them. One thing that's really important to remember is the trash separation. So we have several different kinds of separation for our trash. We have like plastics that we have to put in one bag, and then we have like Restmüll is what it's called, which is where you just kind of put everything else that's not plastic or organic trash inside of that bag. And then you have, of course, organic trash. You also have paper trash. And as you can see, we have multiple containers down here. We have our bottle collection. We have the bigger can, which is normally for plastics and just regular packaging. And then we have the smaller can, which is just for the Restmüll, so to say. We also, I think this is really important. We have plants a lot in our house. So we have like a plant up here, and we have our boxes that I installed, and I'm really proud of all of that. But yeah, basically it's really important that you also decorate your home how you want to have it a little bit, and make sure that you're kind of giving it your own flair, giving it your own kind of taste. A lot of times in student housing, you have a specific place where you can go to do your laundry. Like it could either be in a laundromat that's right down the block, or a lot of places have some sort of laundry machines in the actual building. So it's really easy to go and do your laundry. And also a big adjustment for me was, of course, getting used to the fact that we don't really use dryers here. So I've made my avocado toast. It's really simple. It's just like a dark bread with some avocado and cream cheese and some egg with a bit of salt and other spices like paprika and maybe a little rosemary as well sometimes. Buying all of this stuff from the grocery store is pretty cheap in Germany. Like buying a pack of bread is, I don't even know, like is it €1 or less? And then buying a pack of eggs is about the same. You can pretty much feed yourself an entire, very nutritious breakfast for a week really easily. And so normally I eat avocado toast. Sometimes I'll pick up like a normal muesli, which is just like a granola with different flavors in it. That's less than €2 a box. That lasts you more than a week for the most part. And of course, I always have to have a fresh cup of coffee to go with my breakfast, which is normally the only way that I can start my day before I head to classes. So I'm gonna dig into this really good breakfast, and then I'm gonna get ready and we're gonna go to classes. How's that sound? Breakfast was pretty good. And now it's time to go to classes, which normally happen directly after I have breakfast, because sometimes I have early classes, which isn't optimal, but it does have to happen. So what I normally do is, after I'm done with breakfast, I also brush my teeth, of course, and I put everything on, And my first classes normally take place at the actual university, just like at the buildings that I'm going to show you guys later. But for the most part, yeah, gotta get ready.
Don't you have classes online?
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, give me a second. So one big change that's happened this year for basically all the students in Germany, including international students, is the corona pandemic. So essentially what that means is that I have had to do a lot of my classes online. In March or so, we had a lot of cancellations of classes, or basically all of the professors had to adjust to doing it all online. So in order to do that, I have a couple of things that I personally like to do that I have organized for myself that I find to be really good for the online classes. We still have online classes right now for the next semester. It's just that some of them will be online, some of them won't be online. So I have my normal laptop, but with my laptop, I also got a screen to go with it. And all I do is just hook up an HDMI cable into my computer. So that way it's really easy for me to have a dual screen so I can watch one lecture on the screen and then type notes on my computer like normal. I also think it's very, very important to have your desk somewhere near where the sunlight comes in, because that just gives you a little bit of an energy boost in the day anyways. It reminds you that it's actually daytime and that even though you maybe don't leave your apartment that much, it's okay. You can actually, you can still have a view of the outside if that's possible to do in your room. I also think it's very necessary to have a cup of coffee at all times. I normally make a cup of coffee before I sit down at my home office, and once I sit down at my desk in my home office, I am there until I'm done with stuff. Making sure I really have a regimen to balance out, how can I organize my class schedule and how can I organize my free time that I give myself in between the classes so that I don't end up just sitting on the couch for the whole day, right? Other things that I like to have are a couple of plants, of course. I have my cacti and also a couple of other plants in the back, and I have an inspirational quote right here. Just having a couple of things on my desk that are really important for me to start my day, to be motivated, and to make sure that even though I'm just sitting on my butt at my desk the entire day with all of the lectures, I can still have a couple of happy things to look at, and I'm still in a really comfortable surrounding. And then of course, come over here in the corner of my desk, you can see, I use a lot of sticky notes too for organization. And in the very back, I have all of my documents, all of my different notebooks and all of that stuff. Looking at online classes, it's also important to note that I do have some normal classes that are going on. So I do actually have to go over to the university and to the Hochschule für Musik, where I also study music. And I'm going to show you guys both of those institutions, how they work, how do those things work when I have to go to class in between two different universities while also balancing online courses. So I'll get back to you guys soon. We're going to go over and check out the universities. So this building behind me is the Hochschule für Musik Karl Maria von Weber in Dresden. Because I'm studying Lehramt, so I'm studying education, I have to do two subject areas. The first one that I have is English, and the second one that I'm doing is music. Most of my music classes happen in this building. I most of the time am able to go actually to the Hochschule für Musik and do most of my classes because it's private and it's one-on-one. So it's actually a really easy exchange for us to, we both wear masks, we both are sanitizing our hands, and we both maintain a distance. So it's a really easy system for us to keep going to school at the Hochschule für Musik during the COVID-19 pandemic. Overall, this is kind of where I do most of my studies for music, and let's go take a look inside. So in the Hochschule für Musik, like I said, there are practice rooms, and one of them includes a piano practice room. So if I ever have an exam or something that I have to do, I can rent out one of the practice rooms and come and play here. And it's really easy to rent out our practice rooms if you have a student card. But even those who aren't involved in the music school A lot of music schools in Germany will let you come in and practice in their practice rooms if you, like I said, talk to a professor ahead of time. So if you want to go and study, or even for musicians, if you want to get music notes, or if you wanted to find a book, most of them have a library within the institution. There's also the central library in the city. Because most of the system of the universities here in Germany allow for a really good break in between classes, which is normally somewhere around 20 to 30 classes, it means that I get to jump between the different universities that I have to in a good amount of time to get from one class to another. So it allows me to get from here to here. So actually, this is one of the university buildings that I normally go to if we have normal classes. I mean, like I said, we have online classes for the most part, but sometimes if we have smaller seminars of maybe 20, 15 or so people, then we will actually have our normal seminars and we'll just have to wear a mask and keep a distance. So I don't really think that having online classes and a mix of online and presence classes really hinders my education. I think it's actually a really good opportunity for us to keep moving forward with the pandemic, not just restricting ourselves to online classes, but still taking the precautions necessary to have in-person classes so we can have real discussions and we don't have problems with Wi-Fi or have problems with our connections on our laptops and stuff. So one thing that's important to remember about German libraries at the university, which is probably similar to any other university, is that you have to make sure that you're quiet, you can't really bring anything to eat, and you can only bring a water bottle. So don't drink any coffee in the library. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit of a talk from one of the librarians. One thing that I really like about the German library system is that because there are so many separate libraries that are spread across the city, for the most part, it's really easy to go study wherever you want. So for instance, if you ever wanted to come to the Library of Education, it's really easy. You don't have to be an education student. You can just come and study whenever you want. I really like to sit and study and to take my time and to do all of my assignments outside of the house whenever I can, especially during the COVID pandemic right now, because I really don't like being locked in at home. So I really recommend that when you come to Germany, make sure you bring a mask, make sure that you sanitize your hands, that you keep a distance from everybody else, but it doesn't mean that you have to be locked in all of the time. You can go out when you want to, and you can go and study at other places as long as you're maintaining a really good distance from everybody and you're keeping up with their hygienic standards. Here we are in the Neustadt, which is actually on the complete opposite side of Dresden compared to where the university buildings are. I live in my apartment in the Altstadt, and that's also where the university is. That's also where the Hochschule für Musik is, where I study. And so that all is in one part of the city, and then you have the complete other side that's across the river that's called the Neustadt. This is normally where a lot of students live here. A lot of people come here to kind of get away from the uni life and to just kind of live freely, so to say. It's a very creative community. A lot of artists live in the area. There's a lot of really cool architecture to see, and a lot of really interesting clubs that are based here too. So the one thing about being a musician in Germany, specifically a music student, is following the quiet hours that you have to do here. So every day between, I think it's 12 and 2 p.m. and every day after 10 p.m. and before 7 a.m., that's all quiet time. That's all time that you really can't play music out loud that's too loud, or play an instrument, or I don't know, renovate anything in your apartment. It's really it's a very strict quiet time, and then that's for 6 days out of the week. And then on the 7th day, on Sunday, you're not actually allowed to make any noise during the whole day. So you really have to make sure that you're quiet. That was kind of one big adjustment for me, is figuring out, do I want to keep playing inside my apartment, or do I want to go to the music school to practice? It's a lot more comfortable for me to play at home, and I think I speak for a lot of other musicians too, that it's just easier when you can practice in your apartment. And I'm sure it's actually a lot easier to get away with playing during quiet hours if you live in like a student community. But if you're living in a normal apartment, or if you're in like a Wohngemeinschaft with other students in a place that's located around, let's say, normal non-student people, then you're going to have a bit more difficulty getting around that, and you'll have to really make sure you're being quiet. For everyone moving to Germany, I recommend definitely looking into getting involved with music if you play an instrument, or even if you sing, or even if you're interested in anything like that. There are tons of kind of small organizations like bands and stuff that play in the area. You can find stuff on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm sure that there are people you can follow in a lot of the big cities, especially in Dresden. There's a lot. And also look at the local music schools. There's lots of stuff posted there, and I think it's actually pretty easy to find a little niche that you can fit into, make new friends, and just make music together. But in the meantime, make sure that when you move into Germany and you move into your apartment and you finally get settled, and at 10 p.m. you really want to blast some music and just party around because you're happy to be here, make sure you keep the noise down, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of complaints from your neighbors. So just keep that in mind. All right, well, we're back in the kitchen, and we're going to make some Abendbrot now. We have a lot of stuff. We're going to make sort of a curry kind of a dish where we have onions and garlic and mozzarella and tofu. It's not really a curry. I mean, I would say that a lot of Germans call a curry something else than what actual the curry dish is. It's pretty much just putting a lot of vegetables together, putting onion and garlic together, and coming up with a sort of sauce. We have a garam masala and curry sauce, which are two different things, but it's still all good. We have somebody over here who's cutting up all of the vegetables as he's laughing, and we're getting ready with the pot of rice and doing all of that stuff over here, starting to fry stuff. Curry is a really easy thing to do, especially if you're a student. You just kind of have to throw together a bunch of veggies and, I don't know, tofu or a meat of your choice even. You put it all in the pan and make that, and then you add rice to it with a sort of seasoning to that as well. And it's kind of really easy, and it's something that's also well in budget. So highly recommend doing that. One thing that we always like to pick up out to eat is döner. So it's a kind of a wrap with meat or some sort of halloumi cheese inside of it, and it's with salad and kraut, like cabbage, and different sauces. You can get döner in every part of the city. It's really easy to find, and it's pretty cheap too. So if you're ever on a budget and you need to get something to eat, that's also a really good idea to get. I think our rice is kind of coming close, and also we're about to throw in the veggies, so I'll check back in a second when we're kind of close to being done. So we just finished cooking all of our curry and rice, and this is kind of what it looks like. Like I said, it's just kind of a mix of a bunch of vegetables and rice, and it's really easy to make. And now we're gonna go and eat in the living room because we're 3 people and our table is a little bit small. But we also have a fire, and the rest of us are around here too. And yeah, we're about to enjoy it, and I'll check in a bit. So we just finished dinner and finished cleaning up all of our dishes, which means that it's pretty much time that I go to bed pretty soon here. Before I let you go and end the video, I wanted to let you guys know a few tips about coming to Germany and studying here. So the first one would be, don't worry about the COVID pandemic. I mean, we should all be worried about it, and we should all be very precautious of how we're going about things. But just know that the university systems in Germany are doing all that they can to make sure that international students still get an opportunity to come in a safe way. And even if that means that you have to take, I don't know, health tests before you come here, or you have to make sure that you have some sort of safe travel plans, that's something that if you're able to organize it yourself, and I mean, there are so many people who are willing to help you, it's going to be okay. Online classes are okay. I've had a pretty good experience. Sometimes it's a bit difficult, but that's just kind of the nature of the time that we're living in, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I also wanted to tell you about the Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst. So I got a scholarship from them about, I think, 2 years ago to do a study abroad year in Germany. And it was the undergraduate scholarship, and I don't know if it still exists. I don't believe it does. But there is a huge database with the Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst on their website for tons of other stipends and scholarships. I highly suggest that all of you look onto the website if you're interested in coming to Germany for some reason. The last thing to talk about is the cultural difference in Germany. I mean, I kind of mentioned a few things that are a little different here compared to what I'm used to in my everyday life. But my everyday routine has definitely been changed by moving to Germany. One of the things is going grocery shopping. There is a shop around almost every corner, super easy transportation in the cities. It was really easy for me to get a routine of going shopping every day and having fresh fruits and vegetables to eat pretty much every day. Another thing is getting to know German friends. I do have to say very honestly, it was a bit of a struggle at first for me to come into those circles, especially because I was learning German at the time, like beforehand. And overall, everybody seems to be very open and everybody seems to be willing to get to know you, but you just have to have a bit of patience. And I think that goes for a lot of other cultures too, that you just have to really have a lot of patience if you are an outsider, so to say, coming into somebody's new environment. You just have to be prepared to give in the effort to really solidify a good friendship. But if you keep a positive attitude and you try to get to know people, it's always going to work out for the best. But yeah, otherwise, I would just say keep your heads up about the COVID pandemic. We're all going to make it through it. Take a look at the DAAD's website and look at the different scholarship bases. And then also just make sure that when you come to Germany that you don't forget to have a good time. Don't think too much about all of the details. Go out and have fun. Go meet new people. And I really hope that that sometime we get to meet each other at some point. Maybe to see you in your day in the life. So anyways, I have to go now. I have to go take a shower and then I'm going to go to bed. But in the meantime, I wish you all a pleasant night. And it was really great taking you guys around to show you that you know, my day in the life. And I hope to see you guys all at some point too. So have a good one.
Thank you for watching this video. Let us know about your favorite parts in the comment section below. If you want to get featured in this series, write us an email at parrot@parrotingermany.com and we will get back to you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.